we are going to talk or discuss our feelings on whether the city of Dallas should tear down City Hall or not.
This is a feeling section?
It is.
I did not know we were going to go there.
I've got a little data, but then I think, well, we really have kind of similar feelings on it.
And I think that this is, and when we were talking with Zach, who's producing this, and talked to him about this is going to be the second segment, he said that's what a lot of people are talking about right now. And I think, I don't want to say it's scandalous, but it sure doesn't feel...
It's getting that way.
It is. And I think that there's some really unfortunate things that are running, and dare I say it, that are running similar to what the Epstein file is. Because when you talk about an email dump, it just harkens to nefarious transactions. Something is not, something stinks in Denmark. And I think what we're learning more and more is that this has been going on for quite some time.
So if you're not from Dallas, Dallas is a really iconic piece of architecture. It is a Brutalist piece that was built by IMP, or designed by IMP. It was built in 1978, and it was built at a time when the vision for Dallas was to have this government complex with a lot of just a lot of different things happening around it. They really did it in a section of Dallas that was like small manufacturing facilities. The rail lines ran through there, and it's taken a long time for that area around to really backfill is a good way to do it. We've always had a very vibrant downtown through our high-rise corridors.
The Arts District,
yes,
the Central Business District.
But coming back on this side of downtown, the southern side of downtown, they really, their idea was to put this down there, give it a really iconic piece of history, and let that be the jumping off point for this section of downtown.
And it is caught on because it's now like the backdrop for the big Cinco de Mayo parade, and then there's also an Asian Lunar Year celebration.
Turkey Trot starts right there.
So there's a lot, and it has developed. And I think that I think there's a 1-2 punch that's also happening. I think that downtown Dallas is on the precipice of sliding one way or the other. And I think that what we're talking about is the fact that you've got both the Dallas Stars and the Dallas Mavs that have announced that they're leaving. And that there's AT&T that has said, we're leaving.
We're leaving downtown. Yeah.
And then you just recently hear that WFAA is struggling because of a situation that they have with their parking lot. And do they stay? And so there seems to be this flux. You know, we've even talked to some of our clients because they visit with us about values of their condos and whatnot. And it's a lot of uncertainty now, and that's a tough thing around real estate.
It really is. To kind of put a little bit of a timeline in perspective in the start of this, it was really February of 2025. The first part of 2025 was when some of these emails indicated that the CEO of AT&T was really beginning to become concerned about the future of downtown and whether downtown Dallas really had any governance in it.
That comment alone about the governance really is like, it is like who's behind the scenes running it, because it feels like that's what we're talking about right now. You know, the Dallas, Mark Cuban doesn't own the Dallas Mavs any longer. You know, it's Miriam Edelson who owns it, who owns the Sands. And now we see her in the news a lot, and you're like, but you're not a Dallas resident really, you know? And you're about to come in here and make these changes for us? It just feels like that term billionaire class is making moves on us.
And you know, the fact that the Stars have already said we know where we're going in Plano. They've already openly said they were going to Plano. The Mavs are now saying, well, we're looking at two sites. One's downtown that is unnamed, and then the other one's where Valley View Mall is. That is really I think the right place for them to go. It's,
hands down,
Midtown. It's a big enough place that they can develop whatever they want around it.
And not have to tear down. The other thing too that I think when I think about this is we're talking about this is a building that Dallas owns, and we're talking about having to relocate and have a reoccurring expense on a rental. That doesn't make sense. I know that the land will be sold, but you're still going to have an expense. I don't know.
Yeah, that part doesn't seem to make sense to me either. Really in April of 2025 is when these emails show that City Manager Kim Tolbert was starting to meet with not only executives from the Sands Corporation, she was meeting with real estate companies and real estate executives, and she brought Stream Realty into this without really doing a contract with them. She just brought them in and said, "Hey, could you analyze a bunch of what would be a good use for downtown, or would this make sense?" And so, according to Stream Realty, they dropped everything they were doing because it's the city of Dallas. This would be a really great opportunity.
Yep.
They rolled in their report, and basically the city took their report and said, "Okay, thank you."
Didn't like what it said.
Well, they took pieces and parts out of their report and put it into the city's analysis of what's going on.
So it was an out of context report, the way that they, yeah.
And then in August of 25, the mayor came up with what do they call it? He directed the finance committee to evaluate whether City Hall should stay or go, and he appointed Chad West as the chairman of that committee,
Who is also pro.
Yeah. Yeah.
Which I think is, again, elected officials, are you doing the best that you can for Dallas residents? Or are you doing those that raise and donate the most money to your reelection campaign funds?
October of 2025 is when they brought CBRE in and actually did a contract with CBRE to come in and analyze, create the report on the building itself, and then also begin to show them other options. And here's one of the tricky parts that really makes me uncomfortable is they handpicked the council people that got to go on the tours to look at these up to 15 properties that might be where City Hall would move as a tenant.
So they didn't take everyone.
Didn't take everybody. If you were for the idea, you got taken. If you were against the idea, you did not get taken on the tour. And they weren't told about it either. I mean, this was all done very clandestine.
And CBRE is also the one that created the report that said what the cost would be.
Correct.
But yet they're the ones that get paid when we relocate.
Everything on this happens.
And they get paid when the sales of the land happens too.
Yeah.
Doesn't seem like it's a neutral third party to me.
No, and the initial reports that came out put the cost of renovation of around $100 million. And the most of the city council people were like, okay, well, it's $100 million. We're putting it into a 50-year-old building, and let's go ahead and do it. And then another report came out, and it was, we really meant it was $300 million. And the people again were like, okay, well, you just got to dig a little deeper, and we're going to have to do it. And then the big report, the CBRE report, came out that showed $900 million to $1.4 billion
plus evacuation.
Well, that included relocation
Yeah.
costs while the City Hall was being restored. But when people started analyzing the report said that there were no structural issues with the building and that there was really no need to evacuate the building while it's being renovated.
Nor was it falling down. So I think that, with all that said, it's going to get really interesting because of the email drop.
Well, and these emails, it's interesting that
Because it just came live.
these just came to light this week. The information was originally requested by two writers with D Magazine.
Correct.
Through the Open Records Act. And when you file requests through the Open Records Act, the entity that you are requesting the information from tells you how much compiling that information would be. And so they told these reporters, okay, this is $248. And I guess they didn't expect the reporters to pay it. The reporters paid it. And then what they got was a letter from the city attorney saying, well, we're sending this over to the state attorney general to have them approve this through their open records. We are supposed to have an answer sometime in May, but I'm not real sure that's
May
I'm
15th.
not sure that's going to happen, and I'm not even sure it's relevant now.
Well, the last, is it relevant? Because Councilmember Adam Bezlada
Balduza.
filed his own request and received two thumb drives with roughly 5,000 emails that just became public this week. And that is what you'll see Robert Wolanski. He is going to town. He is one of the writers for the Dallas Morning News, and he has done some excellent coverage. If you don't follow him, look for him on social media and read his articles. He really gets into the nitty gritty, and he is also asking some really important questions about why these things are happening, why people are making these decisions. It really kind of, let's just hope that it goes to a vote for the public.
Well, that would be what I would want, because we were talking earlier, and like that was when a council member named Angela Hunt, who finally pushed hard enough to get the Trinity River Tollway
to
go to a vote, and the residents turned it down.
But yes, thank God. But the craziest thing was even at the vote, to vote no, you had to vote yes.
Yeah.
Again, and then there's also the K. Hutchinson Convention Center. Like that was a question. I came from San Antonio and saw how important it is to have tourism.
Yeah.
And here we are in Central Time Zone with two massive airports, and you don't want to have a huge
convention
destination.
center. Yeah. I mean, you're really limited. We're still limited, even with the expansion. We like the National Association of Realtors we're not large enough to host the National Association of Realtors.
Well, I didn't realize it. Well, anyway, digesting. Anyway, it's really important, I think, as Dallas residents, for us to stay involved with this. There's so many times right now, I think we've talked about this, how Citizens United has really changed the way elected officials behave. And rather than really working for the constituents that elected them into office, they're really working for the donation dollars of these massive groups.
I agree. It's
unfortunate.
One of the things that was a little frustrating to me was I don't feel like this process started with the what is best for Dallas and what is best for the citizens of Dallas.
Nope. It is best for what a very small, elite, well-funded individuals would like.
Yeah, we have several billionaires here in the Dallas area who are involved in this.
They're named.
They're
Robert names them.
Yeah, and they have been throwing fundraisers for council people that are in support of this that are not in their district
At all.
or
taking them to Vegas for vacations.
It's
lots of interesting facts.
So keep your eyes open on this. It's really this is going to become something very important to the city of Dallas, and I mean I think we've made it real clear which side of the coin we fall on, but pay attention to it. Take the time to read the articles. Robert Wolanski's article that came out this week was a good 20-minute read, but well worth every minute of it.
And just remember, we want to be realtors for life.